Greetings YouTube. Well, today I'm going to be taking a first look at a video game that I'm rather interested in, but perhaps I'm becoming a little bit more skeptical of, Dead Island. Now, I first heard about this game about a year or 2 years ago. I forget exactly when they first basically announced the concept, and it was like one or two screenshots, which sounds great. It's an open world game set on a tropical island resort, and at least from your early descriptions, is you can basically go anywhere on this entire island, which is what I've been waiting for. An open world zombie game. They tried it a bit with Dead Rising, but I mean, you were just the first Dead Rising. You were just stuck in that shopping mall, and the time mechanic ruined that game for me. It was so restrictive; it became very annoying. This looks quite different, on the other hand, at least at first. Now, of course, a lot of the big news with this has been that great trailer that came out, but I'm not going to get overhyped on that trailer because the trailer showed no gameplay. It showed nothing really about the story. We're not even sure if the game's going to be that story centric. Although it does say RPG elements, but that's more skill trees and stuff they've been talking about. Um, and here's the other thing: a lot of times when a studio with a game has that type of cutscene trailer, the studio that makes the game normally doesn't even make it. Generally, that's sent out to a third-party animation studio. Very rarely, only like Blizzard and a few others have in-house animation studios that make that stuff. So I'm hesitant to really base everything I want to off that little trailer and get my excitement up on what was a good trailer. And I give credence to the director and producer of that trailer, but I'm interested in the game in this way. Uh, which I should also read. According to their website, we have four characters who wake up after a night of partying at this resort and are immune to the zombie virus. That that sounds somewhat familiar. Four people left for dead on an island. There's something oddly familiar about that. Well, probably nothing. Sounds original, I guess. Anyway, proceeding on to, well, I guess technically the second screenshot here, uh, giving us a sense of the scale of the map they're giving us. You know, we've got mountains, we got forests, but also, you know, mostly they've been centering on uh, the resort itself, which you can see here in the front. But pay attention to all the greens. Obviously, there's probably going to be a lot of running around in the jungles, running away from zombies as well. Uh, all those trees look like they're going to be accessible. Maybe not the mountains per se, like the really stiff cliffs. But everything else, it looks like you should be able to run all over that place. And even the website describes, you know, a lot about the jungle and all these kind of wild animals. So maybe we might see zombified animals. Maybe we, you know, just running around the jungle for fear of our lives. But anyway, it certainly looks like there's going to be more terrain than just the resort itself, which we're going to get into with our next one. Run away, it's a zombie. Looking past the zombie, there's an actual town, a city. Looks like that classic. At first, I thought this was actually in South America until I read the description more, because that looks like a very South American style town. But obviously, we have some actual cityscape. I believe actually the city was named on their website as being the capital of Moresby. The Moresby is apparently the major town on the island, so this is probably Moresby. Uh, and here we see a little bit. I'm guessing this is Moresby. There could be other towns, but here we see much more of an urban, much more of a traditional zombie setting, minus the palm trees. But we see a few other things. First, hey, look. You can make it out. It says safe zone on that church, which means maybe there's other characters, or maybe these safe zones will be something like the rooms from that other zombie game I think I mentioned before. We don't know that yet, so I'm not going to say they're ripping that off. This could be an area where you get to congregate. It could be an area where cutscene happens. Who knows? A few other things to notice from this Released image here is, hey, he's got a shotgun. Now they've really been hyping the melee combat, but here we can clearly see that he's using a gun at this point. I'm wondering if, though they're hyping the melee combat, whether later on in the game there's going to be a lot more gunplay. I know they said there's going to be weapons, but you don't really know. Could be, could be not. Could be a rare thing to find. It could be in the later stages of the game it becomes a gun-heavy game. Who knows? There were other games that were like that, where they kind of start with this melee stuff. If you ever played Manhunt, starts with stealth kills and turns into a shooter by the end. Also, possibly noted, possibly not a big thing. If you see the two circled zombies, they look kind of military or military equipped. Does that mean there was a rescue attempt and there's going to be maybe a plot element where there's an army coming in, or are they just, this happened to wearing some camouflage clothes? In this picture, it's not even that clear. We'll get into a little bit more of that, though, later. Next picture is the Special Infected. Wait a minute. That sounds familiar. Special Infected came from some game. Never mind. This guy at least looks a little different, and also he's obviously been wrapped up and experimented on, which is making me guess if this is going to be a plot-centric game. Obviously, this is not going to be some sort of naturally evolved virus. That's a big, Mongo-looking mother wrapped up in a straitjacket. Something's telling me we're going to see some evil experimentation, whether it's a government experimentation or an evil corporation or a rogue mad scientist. Who knows? But this is our first look at a real Special Infected, which apparently he attacks, since his mouth is covered up and his arms are strapped on down, by charging you, as you can see. Right there in the center, he is charging. So a Special Infected that charges people. Very original. I think you're kind of hitting now. I'm a little hesitant on the game. Maybe the directors aren't as, or maybe the creators are not as clever as they thought. But hey, also notice katana. Yeah. Hey, there's nothing more fun than slicing zombies up with a samurai sword. But besides the Special Infected, there's a few other little things we can spot in this screenshot here that maybe the director or the producers didn't think we notice. One, you notice the zombie on the right there. We believe it looks like a police officer. He looks like he's wearing some riot gear. His vest is a little bit more like a tack vest. This is making me wonder if by the time we get into the town, whether maybe we'll be able to get ammo off these officers and other things. It might become a little bit more gun-happy. Oh, and we're pretty certain he's a police officer, not necessarily an army guy, because, well, if you look at a truck, it says police on it. Also note that the other zombie in the background is wearing a helmet. I'm wondering if, much like in Left 4 Dead 2, whether they'll maybe the armor that they're wearing will come into play, and it'll be a little harder to bring down. It'll be a little harder to get a headshot on since he's wearing a helmet. Don't know that. It could be wrong on that. So yeah, a couple of my concerns where I'm saying they might be Left 4 Dead. I realize, it might be just my speculation, but there's other things where you can kind of clearly see the connection that they may have been inspired a bit from Left 4 Dead. The other group of zombies here on the left, though, they look like they were wearing some sort of camouflage. They look like they're rather uniform. They're all kind of wearing the same thing. And maybe this is a military force. Maybe this is like a private corporation, military guys. The reason I say that is if you also look very closely, they seem to be wearing some sort of ID tags, which is making me wonder, we have basically an umbrella corporation running around here. Maybe that's the plot of where the zombies came from. Or maybe they're just police wearing slightly different uniforms. After all, if this is taking place in not the Peloponnesians, in Papua New Guinea and Southeast Asia, a lot of times their police officers will wear camouflage uniforms in addition to like more traditional police uniforms. So, could be them actually looking at how the world operates. Our next picture takes us back to the resort. And by the way, that character that we see right there is the only one that we is confirmed, although you can't see her face. You can see her, well, basically her bottom side there. Her character's name is, if their website ever bothers loading fast, Zane Mi, who's a Chinese national working at the resort. We also, I'm not quite ready to guess what the other ones are, because we had the one guy, he was obviously wearing he had a mohawk, but from the silhouettes, I can't distinguish who's who. But in addition to having a character who we actually know who she is, we see a giant bloated zombie. I would say that they're gonna, way to go, another Left 4 Dead ripoff, but you know what? Pretty much every zombie game has had the giant bloated zombie. You played Killing Floor, Left 4 Dead, any of the zombie games nowadays has a giant bloated zombie. Hell, even way back in the Xbox days where they had the Judge Dredd game, they had giant bloated zombies. It's pretty much a staple of the zombie video game genre. And then moving on is kind of an epic shot there. But ignoring the zombie lunging at the mohawk dude, notice the blade he's wielding. It is sparking like hell. So that looks like they have been talking about having some sort of skill tree, and I'm wondering whether if you can take down and kind of take an engineering type of skill or something where you kind of assemble and upgrade your weapons yourselves. Looks like he strapped a battery onto that blade and turned it into an electric machete. Danny Trejo didn't have an electric machete. This, I think, is an example of the RPG element we're going to see, how you can probably wind up modifying, kind of putting together your own more badass weapons. Well, that appears to be about it for our Left 4 Dead adventure. There are, of course, a bunch more trailers. You want to go to IGN, Blistered Thumb, GameSpot, the main website itself. Check it out. Now, in addition to the stuff we kind of just went over, there is some stuff I have not seen any screenshots released for yet. For particular, in the game, when they describe the island of Borneo, it's B-A-N-O-I, so Borneo, but you get what they're saying there. They also describe that there are vast caverns in the on this island, so we're probably going to see several cave levels. They, like I said before, they talk also on the website a lot about the wildlife, which means we might see some maybe zombified animals, which would be kind of cool. Not a whole lot of other information on the website other than stuff we basically already talked about. But so I think that's about it for now. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more info later on. Hopefully it won't just seem like it's an open world Left 4 Dead. Hopefully there'll be some originality, but I think I'm still excited for that. Despite my little poking fun at it for basically stealing a lot of things from Left 4 Dead, let's face it, in the zombie genre, everybody steals from everybody. That's been a tradition since right after Romero came out with Night of the Living Dead. I'm still excited for this. The idea of having an open world environment, and I hope it's open right from the get-go. I hope you can pretty much go pretty much wherever you want, maybe after the first one or two tutorials. It should be rather interesting. We'll see if there's maybe a conspiracy element to it, maybe a Umbrella Corporation like thing going on here. Clearly it's not like some voodoo or some sort of weird virus that just developed on the island. That big charger looking guy is pretty clear it's some sort of experimentations are going on, or somebody's making these things. Well, I think that's it for now. If we see maybe something a little bit more substantial, I will make another video, but signing off for now. See you guys later.